Hello, everybody. Namaskar. I'm Ranjini. I'll be in conversation with my guest today. She is an architect turned into a composer, musician, singer, producer, director, editor. She was part of Indian Ocean Band as a keyboardist. She has done numerous background scores, including Kaun Banega Crorepati, Mastermind, and many more. She currently in Mumbai but grew up in Delhi. She talks about Bengali emotions. She talks about macher jhol, kosha mangsho. She gives us Malayalam recipes. She is also part of Mumbai beach cleanup projects. Her brainchild is the metronome. She is our very own Lady Chatterjee, Bengali auntie, Amsterdam girl, whom I'm talking about. Just give me a moment. So please welcome Sawan Dutta.
Hi,
Hi.
Ranjani. Lovely to be on your show. Thanks for having me here.
Thank you so much. It's our pleasure to have you in Alaap e-Ashor. So welcome to Alaap e-Ashor. How are
Thank
you
you.
doing?
Thank you. Lovely to be here. How are we
How are
doing?
you
We are number three in the world now. After USA and Brazil, it's India. We are the bronze. But, not a joking matter. Not a joking matter. We're sort of, trying to cope the best that we can. And at the moment, if you honestly ask me, I'm just counting my blessings. The fact that I'm alive and well, and my loved ones and my family are well and not infected because, I've been hearing horrendous stories about entire families in hospitals, many of them infected, some of them dying, some of them not even able to be near their loved ones at the time of death. So the stories are horrendous. So I think any of us who are not affected and healthy and also with a roof over our head and with food to eat today is in a great place, I think. And so I'm just trying to look around me and count my blessings, Ranjini. I think.
this year itself is very different, and we have got so many challenges in year 2020. I would definitely say, how is this new normal treating you?
Honestly, I'm such a normally self quarantined and socially distant sort of a person. I love my solitude. I work alone in my studio. I don't party a lot. I'm not finding it, the social distancing part of it is not something that I'm finding very difficult to deal with. I think the impending economic scenario is what is seriously worrying many of us, especially in the entertainment industry, because that we can see it getting quite serious. It's already looking quite bad for many of our, colleagues and others in the peers in the industry. And I guess as long as we're able to stay safe and, keep out of hospitals and stay alive and uninfected, it's a good thing.
Yeah,
But
and somewhere staying positive, and that's where you actually play such an important role with your different avatar and
oh,
also with metronome. I have
that
seen, we all have seen actually your lockdown episode.
lockdowns are
Oh,
hard. And then there was three songs. Bengali Auntie had three songs on COVID. There was the hand washing song, and then the self quarantine song, and the lockdown song. So yeah, Bengali Auntie has been wearing her nightie and making song after song to try and forget about the scenario outside, which is quite dire.
Right. Wait, like this is where I definitely like to ask you. You grew up in Delhi, now you're a Mumbaikar, but you
Yeah.
actually that's your brainchild, this Bengali auntie. So how this happened and the journey, everything we would like to know from you.
Well, Bengali auntie, I think I probably, have my mom, my parents to thank for that character because, even though we've never really lived in Bengal, she always made sure that we were exposed to a, large part of Bengali culture at every step of our childhood. We used to go to Kolkata every summer holidays because my dadu bhai and my thakuma and my relatives were all there, and visiting dadu bhai and thakuma was a must. A thing that we could not be missed. Every year we had to go there, and so I think at a very impressionable age, I managed to imbibe a lot of things that I saw around me, in relatives and other people. I mean, for me, just going to Kolkata was such a for all of us, Probashi, all of our family members who've not lived in Kolkata, going there, it was a very different kind of an experience, because I remember my younger cousin being asked, কিরম লাগলো কেমন লাগলো তোর কলকাতা, and he was saying কলকাতা is such a strange place, ওখানে সবাই বাইরে বাংলা বলে, শুধু বাড়িতে না দোকানদাররাও বাংলা বলে, and he was so amazed because for us Bangla is a thing that only happens at home. And so to
Exactly.
see so many of our kind of people, so that was quite amazing to a young kid who's not used to it. So then you tend to observe and I think imbibe a lot of things in a subconscious sort of a manner without really realizing it. Not to mention, Ranjini, there are Bengalis in the everywhere in the entertainment industry all around me. So inspiration is everywhere, yeah. It's like I mean, I went to Kolkata for work many years ago, I remember. And I mean, where the accent part of it is concerned, I remember uh, like there was this a friend of mine who had a headache, really bad headache. And so one of the Kolkata based, associates of ours said that, oh, you have a headache. Why don't you put my bum on your head? So for a second, I was trying to imagine the scenario. Does he mean he's going to sit on his head? How does that work for a headache? So it took me a few moments to realize, oh, bum on the head. Chandu bum, like, Amritanchan bum, tiger bum, that's what he means. So, every corner you have these. Like, I'll be in the
This
middle of a
is
TV production or something, and suddenly somebody will say, why don't you send me your shit as an attachment? And again, I would stop, screech to my brakes and okay, this is a very hi-fi path lab. And then I said, okay, no, that's an Excel shit. That's a Bangali. So that's the
that's
shit
the
he's sending as a. So,
sure. There
Bengalis
are
are
some
everywhere.
Bengali emotion which you have absolutely you have bang on. It's like Bodoline, Bum, and all these things are it is actually part of our daily life, and you portrayed it so
Vaidavis,
well.
yeah. Thank you.
So
The
it's
glasses also.
amazing. And every video
Yeah.
has, we can all see your amazing sense of humor and your energy, everything. And you basically, you do it all by yourself. So how the concept of taking, you are basically doing, say, seven people's job by yourself. You are directing, you
Uh,
are composing,
partly,
right?
partly,
Yeah.
I would. The credit for this goes to CB. Because he is a tech whiz. He's like one of the pioneers of the digital revolution in the country, I would say, in the field of audio and video. So initially, when I used to be just a musician, I was playing with Indian Ocean and I was just a band member and I would play the keyboards and, write maybe and sing a little bit. He's the guy who taught me, you know, all the technical aspects of music, and he's the one who made me realize that it's a possibility in today's day and age control of your entire production and to do everything yourself. So now that's a huge plus point for me as far as I'm concerned, because it takes away the need to spend a lot of energy in communicating with people and trying to tell them this is what I want and this is how I want things done. I just do it. It's faster, it's simpler. And even video, I mean, there was a point in my musical career when we realized, both CB and I realized, that people are not consuming music as pure audio anymore. And they need to see something, they need to see a video. Otherwise, if you just play music for them, they'll start fiddling with their phone and looking at something else. So it's better you give them something to watch. And
Right.
the simplest thing seemed to me, since we have selfie cameras now, is to put on your camera and start shooting yourself and see how good or bad it looks. If it looks bad, do it again. So that was my simple methodology. Just keep experimenting with things until you get it right.
There is
So
a
yeah.
lot to talk about actually. We will come when you mention about Indian Ocean. I'll definitely like to ask you how was the experience of working? Because we was it was a craze for us,
Yes.
Indian Ocean. Oh,
So long ago, my God, I was a student then. I was like really young. I was in college when I was playing with them. I was, I think, in third year when I joined them, and then yeah, in fourth year, final year, and then I had to get away from the band because I had to finish my thesis, my final year architecture thesis, kind of coming up, and so I had the choice of finishing my thesis or going with them to Dum and recording their first album. So obviously, our Bangali family academics is more important than anything else. You don't go off with a band to play and record some album. You graduate.
পড়াশোনাটা কমপ্লিট করতে হবে।
Absolutely, absolutely. Graduation is non-negotiable. So yeah, that was what happened with Indian Ocean. I'm still in touch with the guys. Yeah, I mean, I can see Nikhil was just WhatsApping me about something. I'll reply to him later. I'm in touch with the guys. They're a lovely group of people. But yeah, after CB showed me how to be a solo musician, I kind of decided, okay, I don't want to go with a band anymore. I can do everything myself. So it just gives me more freedom. So
Yes,
that's
you
why.
you are always very innovative. Like every time you actually surprise the audience, that's the best thing I think. The way we get you. When you're talking about your architect, studying architecture, and you named your band as Archetype.
Archetype.
If I'm
Yeah,
not, yes.
the band already had that name. I was the junior most person in the band, and
Okay,
in fact,
okay.
they wouldn't even let me in because they had a rule कि लड़कियां नहीं allowed hai, girls no, not allowed in the band. So I had to like sort of play certain things and sort of audition in a certain way and say that, dude, I can play all this as well, if not better than some of you guys. So like, what the hell, let me in. Those rules are like out. So finally, eventually, they let me in, and they all became great friends and all of that. But yeah, those were.
Great. So once you completed your studies and then you absolutely focused on your music projects and
I
composing, right?
actually worked as an architect for a couple of years, and then switched. Then kind of decided to switch to music because
Okay.
yeah.
My my next question would be, Sawan, how like the transition from a fixed a role you were used to attend office work and sites and everything, and from there now, as you said, you have the freedom of doing everything by yourself, and you are absolutely creating music. How is this transition?
It's got its pluses and minuses, Ranjini. The pluses are that you're in charge, and the minuses are also that you're in charge. So there's no one else to blame. Anything that goes wrong, I can't say that, oh, this went wrong because so and so messed up, or acha, this is a responsibility I gave somebody else and they messed up. All the blame is on you. So it's a huge responsibility. So there's a lot of stress involved with it, more than I allow myself to show on camera. But the great thing is that there's no one interfering with my creatives. There's no one telling me, "Ki, no, don't do this like that, do it like that." So I'm free to be as crazy as I want to be. See, I worked as a professional musician for about like 20 years, like over 2 decades, yeah. And when you're working as a professional, you don't have that kind of freedom because you're doing what your client wants. You're doing what the project demands, what the project and the client dictate the creatives. And your job is to carry it out to the best of your ability. The metronome is a place where I'm crazy, where I just let myself go. There are no rules, there are no clients, there's no nothing, unless there's a brand collaboration, in which case I treat it like a pure professional thing, and the brand comes first. But otherwise, I just allow myself to go nuts and just go crazy. No
There
rules.
are there are so many layers actually from an architect to what today you are, because you have done background score for so many popular reality shows as well as TV programs, and you have worked in cinemas as well, like
Yeah,
doing
I've
music.
done
So
it.
please tell us something.
Yeah, well, I've been, like I said, working in the industry for over, you know, 2 decades. I've been incredibly lucky to work with some of the people who were my, childhood idols, like Mr. Siddharth Basu. I mean, I grew up as a kid watching him on quiz time and thinking, oh, wow. I mean, the quiz master, when he would come on, your heart would stop. And all. It was wonderful, a pleasure and a privilege to actually create music for his shows for like over 2 decades. And our association goes back to, like, I think the late 1990s, up to KBC, or the last 2018 uh, edition of KBC. So there was Babu. I worked with Mr. Basu. Then I created some 6, 7, 8 albums for Ustad Amjad Ali Khan Saab and his sons, which was another wonderful experience because again I've grown up listening to him, watching him, and been a huge fan. So it was a massive honor, to be asked to create those albums for them and to, arrange and program the music for those. I mean, I was responsible for all the world music albums that Aman and Ayan have done, starting from Reincarnation, which was their entry into the world of global fusion music. So that was another lovely association. And I worked with incredibly talented people like Dadi Padamji, who's a puppeteer. He's absolutely amazingly creative. So I've worked with such dynamic, creative, wonderful people, and absorbed hopefully some of whatever they had to share. So that's been a great journey. I'm sure I've learned a lot from each of those projects. But more important than anything else, you learn how to stick to a deadline. You learn how to read a client brief. You
Right.
learn how to read what a brand requires from you, and how to sort of translate that into music, because a client is very often not going to be able to tell you that do this musically and that's what our brand requires. They tell you that in a very broad and abstract way that this is what we require. And so to manage to translate that into music, so there's a certain set of skills that I would say I've acquired over the last 2 decades working in the industry, all of which goes into the metronome without even my thinking, as a part of
Right.
my background, I would say.
How do you study the the demand of the audience or what they are actually looking for? How do you do that?
That is something that I have come to learn only after the metronome, because YouTube is what puts me directly in touch with my audience without a filter in the middle. I mean, I've done albums like Lady Chatterjee and all, but there would always be a gatekeeper, in the middle. There would be Saregama, there would be record label telling me that, oh, this worked, that didn't work. I didn't know whether anything was working or not. So I had to rely on whatever I was being told, and there was no way for me to directly gauge audience reaction. So the most wonderful thing about my song blog and about being online is the direct audience feedback. It's absolutely amazing. There's nothing else like it. I mean, I put out something and immediately I know what somebody thought about it and how they
Right.
reacted to it. That's amazing. That's really amazing. And I try my best always to try and learn more about audience mindsets and what they want, what they're looking for, what they're not looking for from that. It's an education for me, studying audience reactions and
And I
molding
think
my.
that's where we really wait for Pet Pujo, our Pet Pujo, just before Puja, especially, we are actually abroad and we think, oh, that's something, such a fresh feeling of this Pujo thing. So,
I'm glad you
yeah.
like that. That was actually another collaboration with a very very creative set of people at this ad agency called Experience Commerce. They were handling the Fortune thing that was done for Fortune Foods, and
Yeah.
I got to work with really very creative set of people for the Pet Pujo songs. That was great fun. That was not a pure metronome production. I mean, I wrote it, I
Yeah.
composed it, and I sang it and all of that. But a lot of the visual aspects and the shooting and all was handled by the agency.
Right.
Lovely, so that was good.
I will go actually the first, your first episode and your first direction. You worked with a very special, I would say, I like donkey a lot. Okay, I really, that's one of my favorite animals. Friends who know me, they know donkey actually tops the list from
Wow,
the, animal
amazing,
fraternity. So, because
amazing.
I find donkey very dedicating and it's very like, donkey will do
Very
what you
smart. They're very smart animals, Ranjini. I should tell you about my shoot. This was
Yes,
a very professional, very opportunistic, and very focused donkey. It knew exactly what it wanted, and yeah, it's it's not like a lot of other animals. Like you go and say, "Oh, you sweet donkey," you try to pet it. It says, "Get away! I don't know you. I don't like you. Get away! Just leave me alone. What do you want?" So then you have to sort of bribe it with carrots. I mean, we did a lot of research for that donkey video, and my first thought was how to make it bray, because I don't know how to make a donkey bray. So I had friends, Tilotama in Delhi and Maya in Chicago. So I was constantly in touch with these friends and telling them that I'm going to shoot a donkey and I have this problem and I don't know how to solve this problem. And they were all Googling how to make a donkey bray. So Maya
right.
in Chicago came up with this, said that, I'm seeing this article about a donkey farmer in South America. He says his donkeys start braying when they see another donkey braying on a video. So I said, all right, I'm going to download a donkey braying, YouTube video, show it to the donkey. My donkey just ran away. He saw the donkey braying. He tore its rope and he just ran. And I was like, oh shit, no, what do we do? This donkey's run away. What if it doesn't come back? Then the donkey came back, and fortunately, I was carrying a whole rucksack full of like about a kilo and a half of carrots. So we started feeding it carrots. As long as we fed it carrots, it wore the headphones and the glasses and all. The minute the carrots finished, donkey was not interested in us anymore. It was like, all right, my job is done. My payment is over. This is what you paid for. This is what you get. Get lost, guys. I don't want to see you again. So very focused donkey, very Bombay professional donkey.
So it's you like you still remember it's been like now quite some time. That's your first, I think, the first
Yeah, yeah,
production,
yeah.
and it is
Like
so close to your heart. I can see that.
very. It was a difficult shoot, because we never shot with any animals before. We don't even know how to get. At that point, we didn't even know how to direct human beings. Forget donkeys. So, like, what do we do with the donkey? Was a big question for us. So, yeah, that was a very special video. It will always remain.
Great. And after that, you introduced Bengali auntie to all of us. Is that so? Or
Yeah. I had no intention of introducing Bengali auntie as such. My thing was that CB said that, this donkey shoot was crazy. I don't want to go around shooting donkeys and things after you. You please handle your own shoot. Do a simpler video where you're able to put the camera and shoot yourself. I said, okay, fine. I've got this absurd Borderline song, so I'll try and shoot myself. So I came here to this very studio where you're seeing me now, and I set up the camera and I did the thing. I just thought it'd be a one-off song. It sounded quite ridiculous to me, and I was very sure that no client would ever let me do a song like that. So I said, "Hey, this is my moment. I'm going to do something really completely crazy and stupid." And I thought, okay, maybe some people will, give me kalis for it and not like it, and maybe some will see it. And I thought it wouldn't do too well, because it looked pretty weird to me, the video. I thought the donkey one would do really well and the Berlin one would just sort of sink without a trace, but I was surprised by the kind of reaction that one had. So yeah, after that people started asking me, wow, what a character and all. I'm like, character? I never thought of a character. I just just did something stupid like that, just like that. And they were like, okay, what's the character going to do next? And that's when I realized, oh my God, now I'll have to bring her back. And I'll have to keep dressing up like that and doing more things because that's what the audience seems to want. So I think it was the audience in a way that, uh, led me to create a solid character out of Bengali auntie after Borolin, and set me thinking, okay, now what can this person do next? So then there was the winter thing, and then there was the Mache Jhol and all of that. And yeah, one thing led to another.
An Amsterdam girl, that is
Oh
another.
yeah, Amsterdam was nuts. That was crazy. That was probably one of my craziest videos because that was the first time I shot somewhere else in that, with that persona. It was crazy. It was crazy because people have clearly not seen somebody in a monkey cap of that, somebody of that sort before, and they couldn't figure out whether I'm a terrorist or what. And Halloween was just around the corner, so they thought maybe I'm dressed like a witch or something, or some weird thing. So I would get a lot of stares in Amsterdam, trying to shoot in public.
This is
And
which actually makes me feel so happy, like because donkey shoot was obviously that's an outdoor. Then you brought it indoor thing, and it was all like mache jhol, kosha mangsho, then payesh and everything. Uh, then you again actually took us, in the outer world of, and that too, you crossed the geographical barriers and you traveled to London and Amsterdam. There was everything in metro now. So that's amazing. If you can
I,
tell us
I
like any, yeah, yeah,
I had huge amounts of fun on all those travel shoots. They were crazy and unpredictable, and yeah, filled with adventure at every point. I
right.
really,
Is
really.
there any memorable incident which you'd like to definitely share with us? Any?
Amsterdam, yeah. What happened is, I wanted to shoot in those coffee shops, where everybody's. And so I went there dressed up as Bengali, and they wouldn't let me in. They were like, Madam, show us your passport. I'm like, why? Is there a country that you don't allow in? Why do you want to see my passport? Everybody else you're allowed. I was dressed like Bengali. So they just said, no, we want to see that you're the correct age. I said, yeah, give me a break, please. I don't look like I'm underage at my. I mean, give me a break. Okay, I look weird. And you don't want to let in somebody who looks like me. So fine, just say that. So I got really pissed off. So I went back. So the next day, I went back to the same place looking like a normal person. I was carrying my Bengali auntie costume with me. My Bengali auntie costume is like takes about 2 minutes to get into. I mean, I always used to carry it with me in my. I should do it right now in front of you, ensure. So I went in looking like this, and
Oh,
I'll do that. I'll tell you. I'll show you what I did. So I went to the shop. Of course, they let me in. No question of passport or anything. I went there and I ordered stuff and I sat there and I said, "All right, so I'm there. Let's see if they can stop me because they've gotten my order." So I got my monkey cap. I've got my glasses. I got my teeth. Right.
yeah.
But I've need to pen. Now I'm the same. Hello. Do you recognize me? Yesterday you kicked me out. You'd ask me for passport. So, that's what it takes when you change.
They
But then
must be completely speechless.
they didn't know what was going on. Why is this person dressing up like this? But I'm like, all right, dude, you've let me in. Now, do you have a rule about who you check out? And anyway, I'm sitting here drinking your coffee and like whatever else is there on the menu. And so we put up the camera, we shot our lines inside, and then we left. And those guys couldn't do a damn thing. So yeah,
It's amazing, and
that's
thank you so
literally
much for
that's
doing this.
literally what.
Uh,
So yeah, that's how fast it is. Changing my character. I do this on a aircraft and in trams and buses wherever. I just carry my stuff, and I think, hey, this is a good place to shoot. So let's start. So I just, quickly change and start shooting before people realize what's going on. And before people realize what's going on, I finished shooting. So that's how fast sometimes I
And
can
it's
play.
an interesting part, Savan. Actually, never say never, because you actually didn't care what they say. You just you know what you wanted to do, and you just did it.
You know, some of the stuff we do is so crazy that you cannot afford to think about what others will think or say. You just have to say, okay, this is what I want to do. I'm going to do it, and just do it. And by very often, what happens is, by the time, like typically in some of the airports, like Paris airport and all, we were shooting. I was shooting right in the middle of people, and there was a crowd. I don't think shooting was even allowed in some of those areas. But by the time people realize, what is this person doing, I've finished doing my stuff. So even in England, when I was shooting and all, actually England is the place which was the easiest. London was the easiest to shoot in, because in a London tube you find people of every kind. So even Bengali auntie would not stand out. There would be, but she just blended in with the crowd. It was very easy to shoot in London, I'd say, compared to the rest of Europe, which was weird.
Even the
Even
tube shoot, I remember it was pretty like it's not it was pretty crowded actually. People were standing
very
on your
crowded.
side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Then I
But
shot
yeah.
it. Yeah, yeah. But London is a place where I felt that Bengali auntie didn't stick out at all. Because there's so many different kinds of people there. Unlike,
Right.
say Dunkirk, where I went, that's a small town in France. Nobody speaks even English. That was crazy. We had like 4 hours, and I had to locate all those graveyard. We went to the war cemetery, and I wanted to locate the graves of these 4 Indian soldiers. That was another crazy shoot, because yeah, nobody spoke English, and we had to go to these 4 very different locations and do all these really difficult jobs, and then get back to the hotel and catch a ferry, and then cross over to London, to England. So yeah, we've done some pretty crazy shoots.
And
It's
you
been
also shoot it
bad.
in different weather as well. It's not just like you prefer to shoot in summer. You actually, what I have
I
observed.
prefer winters. I always prefer winters, because that's when I can wear the monkey cap and feel comfortable in it. I mean,
So
yeah,
do,
I can't wear the monkey cap and be Bengali auntie in her full splendor in a hot summer place. That's no fun. So always winter is preferable.
when you say like it seems like you love winter, so do you miss winter in Mumbai?
Oh, that's the first thing about Mumbai that hit me. That I'm never going to be able to wear my woolens here. It's never going to get cold. I'm never going to be able to snuggle inside. I wrote a whole song called Delhi Winter Song, and that was the first song I ever uploaded on YouTube. So yeah, I miss winter. Like, there are two seasons in Mumbai. One is when there are lesser mosquitoes, and when there are more mosquitoes. You know, so there's rains and no rains. So mosha আছে ki mosha নেই. So your whole attire changes. মশা থাকলে full sleeves, পুরো পাজামা, fully পরে সব জায়গায় যাবে, মশা নেই. Okay, shorts and banyan. Those are the two weathers in Mumbai. There's no summer.
And
No winter. It's crazy, yeah.
mosquito repellent বোধহয় সঙ্গে সঙ্গে রাখতে
Oof, all the time. And now, yeah, you'll have malaria and dengue and all kinds of diseases on top of COVID. So we're hearing, please be careful. This is happening. That is happening. Yeah, that's really painful. But
Right.
yeah,
Uh, Coming back to your vlog, actually, this is very unique in the sense, first of all, like that you are pioneering doing this kind of vlog. So, basically, first of all, it's a cooking vlog. At the same time, it's your own music.
also cooking. Yeah, also cooking. And cooking is one
Uh,
of the aspects. Yeah, but it's. I would say that the cooking part of it is not being done by anyone else. So that's one unique thing about the yeah.
Right, and obviously the way you actually show the recipes and everything, and also you say what are the other alternatives. That is so useful, I think. At the end of the cooking recipe, you can say, oh, you can use some other oil, or you can use
Oh,
this, you can put that.
uh,
So I think
I'm not
that's very
that
useful.
I'm not a very great cook or chef or anything. I'm just a regular person who makes regular food. Now, after last year, you would have noticed that all my recipes have changed drastically to become more nutrition and health friendly. That's because CD, my husband, he had a series of really scary cardiac episodes. He had a heart attack, and he had a multiple a portable bypass. So that was a huge wake up call for us. We have changed our eating habits to become absolutely heart healthy, and nutrition is like our first priority now. So, it's very difficult for me to ask people to eat what I wouldn't want to eat because I know it's unhealthy. So that's one thing that I do in my recipes now. I try to give people healthier alternatives if I know that a recipe is
Right.
essentially problematic, health wise.
Your concepts actually all developed so organically. That's what I can see. Everything is actually there is a reason behind
I
your all your episodes.
I want, I started the metronome as a personal journey thing. I didn't want it to be driven by anything other than my personal journey, and I wanted to sort of be true to what my experiences in life are, and I wanted it to reflect whatever I'm going through, good, bad, or ugly. So yeah, I guess I hope I can stay true to that. The only time when I'm sometimes required to step out of that zone is, like I said, when there's a brand collaboration. Because I'm always
Yep.
super grateful to have brands come in and collaborate because they sustain the blog. Financially, that's a huge part of
And I think that's your success story because it's something your brainchild and it has actually gone so viral. So people would like to be part of that brand as well, like your
I,
brand.
I hope so. I hope so. That's
Now,
certainly.
our best wishes are with you definitely on this. When we are talking about CB, there is a question in my mind at the moment.
Tell me.
So, is there any two-state story how this happened? One from
Uh,
Delhi and then CB is from Kerala, if I'm not wrong.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you. There's no two-state story. There's a two-floors story. So we were
Oh,
neighbors. We were neighbors. I was on the ground floor. CB was on the third floor. This was in Delhi. We were kids in school. That's how early I got to know him.
okay.
He was one of those super annoying neighbors who would, on the day of Holi, stand on his balcony with a bucket of water. And the minute I or my sister stepped out, he would, upend that bucket on our heads and we would be drenched. And we would be yelling and cursing and like, what the hell? And this stupid guy upstairs is like, again, like, put water all over us kind of thing. So that's how, that's how far we go back to when we were kids. Um, of course, he was older than us. And, at one point, he was the only guy in our neighborhood who had won this NTSE, the National Talent Search Exam scholarship. So we would all go and ask him, how do you prepare for it? What kind of studies do you have to do? Blah blah blah. And he would like look down at us very disdainfully, these young kids, and tell us. Anyway, later, even I was lucky enough. I mean, I studied and I got through the exam myself. I got the scholarship. But CB was the kind of tech whiz who, with his first NTSE scholarship money, bought a computer way back in the 1980s when no one had heard of computers. So, in our neighborhood,
With that
he
big box thing, right?
yeah, it was an IBM something, and it was the entire neighborhood would gather outside his place to see. Have you seen that thing that is called a computer? And you know what he's gonna do? He's gonna take that square thing and move it from one end of the screen to another, and everybody would stare wonderstruck. So he goes back to that. His love for tech goes back to that era. Of course, he used to look at all me and all the other younger kids as, oh my god, these are just human children. I'm not interested. They're not computers. I'm so not interested in them. He was like that. Uh, we kind of kept in touch over the years. Maybe met once a year or less than that, because there was obviously nothing going on between us. I went off to study architecture. He went on to study filmmaking, and I remember this one time. We actually met at a traffic light. I was in one auto rickshaw and he was in another auto rickshaw. And we were like, hi, Arun, how are you? I haven't seen you many years. Yeah, I've also not seen you many years. And the auto went off, and that was it for the next 2 years. So it was literally like that until, we reconnected after, I passed out after I graduated from Archi school and reconnected. And yeah, so it was a long, very Harry met Sally kind of a story.
Right. No,
But
it's such
I'm
a
a better,
lovely
I would
memory.
say, I'm a better Bengali than he's a Malayali, because at least I can read and somewhat write my language. I don't think he can even read or write Malayalam. So
But it's amazing. Like so great to know, this part of your journey as well. I'll come back to your again back to your own production and own things.
Sure.
So always you like to give us a social message, and one of the thing is obviously Mumbai cleanup beach cleanup projects. So if
Oh,
you would like to say something about it.
I think Afroz is the only human being I have done a metronome vlog on, because that guy is just the most amazing human being I have come across. He's the biggest superstar this city, Mumbai, has. In fact, the country has, I would say. I don't know how much you've read up about him, but he's the guy. He's this lawyer who kind of decided, he saw a dirty beach and he decided to start cleaning it alone with one other guy. And of course, that became a big movement because he would talk to whoever he would meet. And he's very persuasive. He doesn't stop at just cleaning the beach. He talks to the slum dwellers and he tries to educate them about, open defecation. And he goes and cleans up their toilets for him weekend after weekend after weekend. Now, Afroz is a guy who's been given, awarded the UN Champion of the Year. He's received, I don't know how many international awards of what stature, but he's the kind of guy who will go and get that award, come back, go and clean the slum guys' toilets again. So I don't know many human beings who are like this. He's a guy who can't sit still for a second. Every second of the day, every minute of the day, he's trying to figure out how to help or be of service to somebody. He cleaned up Versova Beach. He continues going there to clean it. Then he started on another beach, Danavani Beach. Then he cleaned up, started cleaning the rivers, the Mithi River, where the garbage collects and gets dumped onto the beach. And at every point, he goes and talks and educates the slum dwellers and the people the people who live around that ecosystem, and tries to educate them about things. Even when this whole COVID thing started, the guy has been feeding stray cats and dogs. He's been feeding and adopting all kinds of homeless people. He's been cooking. He's been running this massive kitchen where he cooks for, I don't know, hundreds and thousands of people. And he's been feeding the homeless. He's been feeding migrant workers. He's been ferrying migrant workers from one point till wherever he can. The police actually call him in to help. Um, he, I think, was one of the first guys to get himself a complete PPE kit. So he completely knows how to. He has the sanitization gear that, whenever required, he will go somewhere and sanitize that place wearing the whole thing. I think there was a COVID death recently in his apartment. So he was the guy who went and got the body out, went to the police, got it released, went to cremate the body. So he's just an amazing guy in so many ways. I can't even. I could go on about that guy. So he's not even a star. He's like a messiah or something. He's. I mean, in our circles, he's like a god. We follow him anywhere. So yeah, it's been a honor. I mean, an honor and a privilege to actually have him on my blog. And I think if
And
more youngsters and more kids start idolizing a guy like Afroz, over film stars and entertainment industry people and people like us, who are we? Are we just come and sit and make some songs and stuff? And I don't know what difference it makes to anyone, but what Afroz is doing every minute is actually affecting the planet in such a positive way that if more people were to, more kids were to want to look up to him and, say that we want to grow up and be like him, the planet would be a better place, yeah, Anjani.
And thank you so much because you actually brought these things to all of us. And this is so inspiring because we often say this, oh, we can do this, we need to do this, but we don't get that, that startup things
Not
to.
easy. It's not easy, Ranjini. Like I would go for the beach cleanup, but even I did not manage to muster up the guts to go for the toilet cleaning sessions. Saturday afternoons, he would go and clean the slum toilets. And I would be told by some of the volunteers that that is a very hardcore thing. The first time you go, you will end up vomiting because you will not be able to handle the smell. That is really hardcore because those are some really dirty toilets. So every time I would say, okay, next weekend I'm going to go, but I would chicken out. It's not easy what he's doing. So I don't know what the guy is made of and what kind of a human being he is, but yeah, It's not
No,
easy.
absolutely. Our best wishes, obviously, with Afroz and with you. And I really honestly pray, let us give this courage to us as well, or like to me or maybe my viewers, so that we can do something, we can bring the change as well. And we
I'm
can,
so
as
happy to see that Afroz has started movements like this in Kolkata, Clean Up Hooghly, Clean Up in Goa, in other places. They've all started this Afroz cleanup camp. And
and
yeah,
it's
happening slowly.
it's more the awareness thing, which is actually it's now working and it's important for all of
Yeah,
us. And
yeah,
as you mentioned, actually, respect the planet, please do not litter.
all of that, yes. I mean, I just try to like learn one small tiny bit of the vast, sea of knowledge that the guy has to offer. I mean, I don't even think I'm anywhere close to that guy. He's like a messiah or a god, yeah, that guy. We just try to sort of help in whatever small way we can by doing whatever little we can in our own ways.
Sure. No,
But
all the very best.
thank you, Ranjini.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
So what we can expect you in next couple of months, years or so? What are the upcoming projects?
The thing, Ranjini, about sorry, excuse me. The thing about doing a vlog which is based on my personal journey is that I don't know very well where it's going, and time will tell, I guess. I'm working on a very interesting, very exciting travel thing right now with Bengali auntie. I don't know where it's going to go. It's a very different and long, different format, and it's putting together the last bit of travel she managed to do just before COVID, and it's quite wild and has all kinds of crazy things. So let's see when I finish and what happens with that. Other than that, yeah, I'll tell you what you can expect and what you can't expect. I will not be going back to unhealthy recipes anymore, Ranjini. I hope to be able to make a small difference, in people's lives by making them more aware of how important it is to eat nutritious food. You can avoid so many. Now we're living in times these days where you don't want to go to a hospital, you don't want to be hospitalized for any reason, not just for COVID. You don't want to have a heart attack, you don't want to go in with hypertension, you don't want to go in with diabetes, you don't want to go in, and it is so easy to avoid these by eating wisely. So last year I think saw me change into a whole different human being as far as food habits are concerned. So I am now a person who doesn't even go anywhere near my biryani and my butter chicken and my kosha mansho and all of that, because I've seen what that kind of eating can sometimes do to somebody who has a cardiac risk inherently. So yeah, I
And
think see me focusing on healthier stuff.
right. And also, it's just not the physical health. I think it's also the mental health which helps with this kind of, healthy food habits and all. So that,
I found it a wonderful switch. I didn't have to switch to a heart healthy meal. I don't have any cardiac risks. I don't have family history and all. But just to make life simple at home, I said, okay, let's both, eat the same kind of food. But I love it. It's amazing. I'm the fittest I've ever been. I'm like going to be 50 soon, and I feel great. I feel light, fit, energetic. um, yeah, I would recommend this diet change to absolutely anyone. I mean, yes, it's good to eat all that heavy, rich food, but nothing feels as good as, being fit feels. Nothing tastes as good as fitness feels. I'm forgetting the exact thing, but it's a great feeling, to be physically fit. So,
when
yeah,
you're talking about your energy, I must say here, all your videos, all your episodes actually reflect how energetic you are, how
thank
you're passionate about your work, and that gives all of us such a positive vibes. I must say this.
I'm so happy to hear that, Ranjini. Thank you. How sweet.
We are like almost we are, the end of the conversation. I can't believe the time is just, so it's just but
I hope I
I
didn't bore you. I know I tend to talk a lot sometimes. I hope you didn't get bored.
but I would definitely like to ask you here, like,
Yeah.
if somebody would like to be a vlogger, what would you like to suggest them? All those aspirants vloggers.
Oh gosh. Well, it's It's not a routine. It's not a very. It's not your usual career path to follow. It's not easy. There's a lot of prior learning, you know, that sometimes you tend to use in a path like this. There's writing, there's composing, there's video editing skills, there's music production skills. So a lot actually goes into this. So if you want to do it, I mean, follow your passion, but follow it well. Upgrade your tech skills and do it to the best of your ability. I would say. Create something that you're not going to feel bad about when you look back on it 5 years from today. Don't create it for anybody else. Create it for your own future self, so that 10 years down the line, you look back on the work that you've done. You don't feel embarrassed, and you don't say, "Hey, why did I do that?" So I would say that aim for that, and yeah, do what makes you happy at the end of the day. I think that's very important. I mean, it helps me hold on to my sanity. Working on my blog in times like this, when I want to block out reality and I want to block out what's happening in the world. I mean, I escape to my vlogging world and I'm able to sort of blank that out for a while. So
Right.
give it your best and try to be yourself. Ranjini, the other thing that I see a lot of upcoming vloggers do is that they decide that they like a vlogger and they try to be like that vlogger. Don't, because every human being is unique and you have your own individual unique traits which are which none of us, nobody else can actually emulate. So bring out the best of what you have in you and don't try to be a second hand copy of somebody else. Be
Right.
yourself,
That
be confident in who.
originality needs to be
Yeah,
there.
and be confident about who you are. Be confident about your own self and your own strengths. Recognize your strengths and your limitations and work with those. Don't try to do something which just because somebody else has done it, because somebody else may not be able to do what you can do. You may have your own strengths. So I would say that.
Somewhere, I think what you generally do, what you believe, you just exactly portray that. You're just trying to bring that for the audience. All of your episodes, that what I have observed. If you believe it, only you do it. Is that so?
I try to do that, Ranjini. I try my best to do that. I try my best to do that. And yeah, sometimes I have to do a lot of brainstorming and soul searching before taking a certain stance. But I don't ever want to be on, at least at the metronome. I don't want to be, yeah, giving out a message that I don't believe in myself, because that would be fake. And there's one thing that I hate being, that is fake. I don't like faking something that not not unless not unless it's a brand collaboration, in which case I won't call it faking, I'll call it marketing. That's a whole different thing. But even when it comes to brands, I think I've been very lucky and very careful about the kind of brands that I work with. I genuinely love the brands that I've endorsed, and I would use their products and I would ask people to do so. I mean, I'm sure there's like 4 5 Borderline tubes lying around somewhere here and at home, and I would never just do something that I didn't actually personally believe in.
No, that's so good to hear your thoughts behind making all your episodes and the way you work. It's amazing and so
Thank
inspiring.
you.
I always feel, and all the
Love that.
very best. But I would like to say, what are you going to? It's a message to all Alaap Ashur viewers. What you'd like to say?
Ah, me or Bengali auntie, should I?
Oh, that would be such a lovely thing. Oh, yeah, Bengali auntie.
Give me 2 minutes. Give me 2 minutes.
I'm
Uh,
going to, the screen is all yours actually now.
Let me put on my movie cap. Okay. All of you tuned in, you must ensure that you regularly watch Alaap. There you go. I hope.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. That is
You're
so
welcome. You're
impromptu. That is
welcome.
so nice. Oh God, I'm so happy.
I thought Bengali auntie must do something. I feel very strange talking in a regular accent when I'm, wearing a monkey cap. I suddenly feel that I have to switch my accent and talk like Bengali auntie. Otherwise, this. Chalo, let me
My
get.
few of my like most of my non-Bengali friends, they say, why you all always pronounce a word like O, Roshogolla,
I,
Ronjini. Why it is always O?
I know, but it's a lovely accent. I love
Yes,
you.
yes, it's
Like,
a.
yeah, it's so unique. It's so unique. It's like no other accent in the world. I love using it.
And that's the way you are actually, making it so viral to, to all the viewers and all.
You
It's
know
it's
what
a
I
new.
love? I love the fact that a lot of my younger, followers and fans in the states and all, who otherwise speak English with a pure American accent, when they sing my songs, when they do my cover versions, they suddenly start using this Bangla accent, and I say, "Yay! I managed to
Uh,
achieve something." So these days,
Definitely,
Bengalians, yeah,
such a lovely time I had with you actually. So it's amazing for all of all of our viewers as well to have you in the show. I'm sure
thank you
next
so much.
time also sometimes later with lots of other your upcoming projects and other
I hope
experiences we
so.
will get.
Fingers crossed.
Sure. So yes, so we
Lovely
will get
speaking
back.
to you. Lovely speaking to you, Ranjani. You take care. You take care
You
of
too.
yourself and
Sure.
give my regards to Renee. It's been lovely speaking with her on mail.
Definitely. I'll
Yeah?
pass, I'll convey. Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, stay well, stay safe.
Okay.
Thank
Right.
you. Thanks
Take
for coming.
care. Stay safe. Bye, Ranjani.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. We talked about so many things. We talked about Donkey, Amsterdam, travel experiences, healthy recipes. কেমন লাগলো আজকের এপিসোড? প্লিজ লেট আস নো। পরবর্তী এপিসোডে আরেকজন নতুন গেস্টকে নিয়ে আমি রঞ্জিনী আপনাদের সঙ্গে আবার ফিরে আসব। সঙ্গে থাকুন, ভালো থাকুন। দেখা হচ্ছে খুব শীঘ্রই। নমস্কার।